is Lady Lilykins with you here today, and we are going to talk about knives. I just want you to have an idea of what you're looking for. If you already have knives, great. If you need to go out and buy some, I just want to kind of give you an idea of what you're going to be looking for. So to first start out, we're going to use a chef knife. I don't personally use this knife. I find it too big. I have small hands. I have a hard time hanging on to this and controlling it. This one is too long for me. But this is what a basic chef knife looks like. It has a very long, a wider base than it does tip. The very pointed tip is a very good thing to have. And it's kind of tapers from tip to base. This one of the reasons I don't like this one is because the blade doesn't go all the way to the edge, and you're going to find this with some knives where it's a little more difficult to sharpen it this way. I prefer them to go, my blade to go all the way to the end. So this is the chef knife. This is also a chef knife. I prefer this one because it is shorter. It has a little more of a pointier edge, and the shape of this one allows it to rock. If you look at them side to side, this one's longer. This one is more sloped right in here, and it allows for a rocking like this. You can just rock it like this, move it along your food, and for me, this works perfect. This is also a chef knife. This is ceramic. Ceramic knives are very sharp when you first get them, but as you use them, they do dull, and you cannot use a normal knife sharpener on these. You have to have a special one. The one thing I do not like about ceramic blades, as they go on, they get very discolored and stained. This can't be washed out. I have tried everything I can imagine to try to get these stains out. So it constantly looks dirty, but it still works. I know it's not dirty. It still works, but I prefer not to use one of these. Until I can get a ceramic sharpener, then I'll use it again. This one here is called a Santoku knife. This one is my favorite because it fits in my hand. It's got a small handle, and it's just, to me, it has the perfect balance. You still have your pointed edge, and you still have your wider base. What makes the Santoku knife so special is that it has these little scallops in it. What those do is it prevents things, like if you're slicing a potato and you're using a solid blade like this, the potato can often stick to the blade, and it makes it difficult. You don't want to spend your time trying to get your vegetables off your blade. You want them to be able to fall off all by themselves. With these scallops, that's what it does. It prevents anything from sticking to your knife while you're slicing it. These are your serrated blade, and what I mean by serrated is that the edge of the blade is kind of like scallops. They call it serrated. The only real purpose for these knives is really to use on breads or on doughs, because it works more like a saw than a knife. So if you're taking a piece of bread or a roll, I have some ciabatta rolls here to show you how this works. You're just gonna put your knife on there, you're gonna saw it like this, and it's gonna go through everything, and you're gonna have a perfectly cut piece of bread. This one has a full serration. This one is like, it's serrated on one side, but not as deep on the other side. I prefer this one, and as you can see, this is a steak knife. I don't use a serrated a blade very often, so I just use my steak knife. And this one will work the same. So whether it has a serration on one side and a solid edge on the other, or a full serration, it doesn't really matter. So what's the difference? If you use a serrated knife, you see that you get nice, clean cuts. Your bread's still intact. If you try to use a solid blade knife, what's going to happen is it's going to squish your bread. See how it squishes? It's not made to cut through like a saw. I guess you can consider a paring knife a saw, or a serrated blade a saw. So it's going to kind of squish your bread, and this one, because there's a lot of airy holes in it, this type of bread isn't going to matter. But if you get like a French roll or like a hard roll, what's going to happen is this is going to squish just like that. These two are paring knives. Paring knives are always short. They're very small. They usually come very sharp. Like this one is very sharp. This one is a newer one. I don't use this very often because of the way I use my paring knife. But it is a very good knife. I like that it has a sheath. It protects it while it's in storage. But I don't use this one very often yet. This one is my favorite paring knife. I have had this for 30 years. And the reason it's my favorite is because when I pare something, I'm usually doing it towards myself, and I use my thumb a lot as leverage. So it's constantly hitting my thumb. Or I'll take something like an egg, if I make an egg salad, and I'll cut it up in my hand because I don't have an egg dicer. And I know it doesn't cut my hand. And I know it doesn't cut my thumb. I have never sharpened this knife, and I don't have the need to. It's over 30 years old, or I've had it for over 30 years. Or close to 30 years, and I've never sharpened it. It's still sharp enough to cut through my food, but it doesn't cut through me. It's a very, very good quality knife. Another thing you're going to look for is you're going to look at the tang. But what I mean by tang is this blade is considered a full tang because it goes from tip to handle. You can see the entire blade, and the handle is formed around the handle of the blade. These are extremely sturdy. My other favorite knife has the same thing. Most of my knives are full tangs like this because they are sturdier and they last forever. A partial tang is going to be one like this, where it stops. The handle of the blade is not the full length of your handle. These aren't bad, but you want to pay attention to how they're attached. These are good because they're attached with metal. It's very sturdy and very, very nicely attached. Some won't be as put together as well, let's say. So you just gotta want to decide if you want a full tang or a partial tang like this, and if you want a steel blade, a stainless steel blade, or if you want a ceramic blade. And make sure that the handle fits in your hand very well. Make sure it balances well. And by balance, I mean I can't really show you how it feels. You're just going to have to feel it yourself. Like this one fits perfectly in my hand. It's a little heavy, but it balances perfectly when I hold it like this. It's very easy for me to work with. This one, when I try to hold it the same way, it wants to lean forward. And this is one of the reasons I don't like using this, because the blade is much stronger or much heavier than the handle, and it's harder for me to control. So have fun shopping for your knives. Keep in mind what you're looking for, and I will see you soon.